And we are live with another one. Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another live rendition of the Grapple Gurus, your somewhat weekly, monthly at this point, whenever there's a pay-per-view for any of the companies. We are here today. It was a weekend of wrestling, but we are here to review AEW's Double or Nothing. We got a stacked show with you, but before we get into all that goodness, let's introduce our crew for the evening. I am known as Mikey around these parts. I also go by El Jefe around the BC WrestlePod nerddom. I am the man with half of the plan and the face that runs the place here at BC WrestlePod. And I have some lovely co-hosts joining me this evening to review Double or Nothing. First and foremost, hailing from parts unknown, you can find this individual all over the Rampage, the Collision, and you may or may not be finding him over on the newly CMLL review, which will be starting in a couple of weeks, but we got to talk about that. But El Buntador II, also known as the Nerdy Puerto Rican, my friend, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Saludos programas, thank you for having me. I am super excited to talk about this show. Double or Nothing. I'm amped. We got things to talk about.
That we do, and I can't wait to spill some tea because El Buntador's significant other half, Alice, gave me some insight as the evening was going on of how El Buntador was reacting to certain matches. I can't wait to talk about that. But joining us as well, you can find this individual all over the Dynamite, and even though we didn't do it this past week, we will be back to our regular scheduled SmackDown programming.
Yeah, we'll head
John,
back to SmackDown.
The Professor, sir, it is so nice to see you. It has been way too long.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's a crazy schedule the last few weeks. Y'all going to New Jersey and causing your trouble and having a blast, and eventually we'll go back to SmackDown, but not tonight. Tonight is for a different promotion.
Yes,
there's some. It could have been the mood I was in. It could have certain matches hit me differently than I thought they were going to because I'm not exactly sure why, but I should have made my prop bets because all the prop bets I was going to make happened, and I was screaming. You have none idea. I was freaking my family out like, what's happening to you? You don't understand. So
shout out to our other co-host Andrew for giving me that update too last night.
Man, insanity. But I'm very much intrigued to talk about this one. We've been talking about PLEs now because they're not pay-per-views. Well, I guess pay-per-view. This is pay-per-view.
Some companies still use PLEs, others use PPVs. It's a thing I paid the money for is to watch the wrestling.
Exactly.
Paid to view the thing. And AEW had kind of a rough week or two going into Double or Nothing. And I'm not saying this tidied it up in a bow. I'm saying, oh, this kind of gave us a new heading. Like, oh, we're going that direction. Oh, okay. So I'm very excited about that. I'm glad to redeem myself on my picks. My original picks for the year were trash, and I went 7-3, which I'm very happy with, which I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. I don't want to give anything away, but there's some stuff to talk about in here. Very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm psyched that actually what did I do? 8-4 for this pay-per-view?
Did you go 8-2? 8-2?
I think I went 8-4 or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a picks guy. I watch the thing. And I enjoy with the lizard brain all the things. I will. Now we'll talk about that later. Because my El Buntador senses are tingling.
Yes, they are. We'll talk about records at the end of it because some of us did a lot better than others, and we'll talk about that. But I'm gonna bring in our final co-host of the evening. This is someone who is important to the AEW crew. So pretty much all the AEW boys are here to cover Double or Nothing. But you can find this individual on the Dynamite as well as the Ring of Honor. And because I got confirmation, you will also see this individual be guesting in 2 weeks as he covers TNA's Against All Odds pay-per-view with me because he owes me a favor. But Mr. John Van Vicious himself, JVL, has entered the chat. Welcome, my friend.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Whoops. I'm happy to be here. Sorry I was so late, everybody.
No, you're fine.
That's cool.
Who is that masked man? I feel like I've seen him before.
I am El Buntador, the numero dos.
Oh, yes. You interviewed a bunch of people at New Jersey WrestleCon.
I see. I did.
I'm so jealous.
But let's get into it. Come on, Mikey. Come on. Let's go. 0 hour.
I know. We could be here for 10 hours if we don't make this move.
All right.
Watch this, for God's sake.
Yes. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, but we are here. We got a lot to cover. We have 10 matches on the main card, 2 on the buy-in, so 12 matches total. So let's just get into it. So Double or Nothing takes place once again this year at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. And I'm going to be honest, the first match we got, I wish it was on the main show, but it is what it is.
Of course.
We start with the buy-in, and the first match that we get is Miss Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo. I wanted this match to be on the main card, but honestly, this was a fun 10-minute bout. Yeah. But I'm also kind of happy that it's not over because the way that Deonna won is very questionable at best. Yes. But boys, this is our buy-in. What do we think of the match?
How did Excalibur and everyone else not catch she was dressed like Elvis?
I mean,
I have no idea. I have no idea.
She even said thank you very much multiple times.
Humans are dumb.
Yeah, I do. To that point, though, I do just want to say that both Deonna and Thunder's ring gear was just magnificent. Oh, yeah. Thunder's homage to Elvis, and then Deonna's homage to the Vegas showgirl. With the feathers and everything. Both the ring gear just knocked it out of the park. Loved it.
Why was this not on the main card? This had just as much build as a handful of other things that we did end up seeing. So I'm a little confused by the booking, or if they just wanted to promote 0 Hour and give me a reason to watch 0 Hour, which is also
only
possible.
2 women's matches per pay-per-view, obviously.
Per contract, yeah. And we've ranted a lot about women's booking, but I think that's unfortunate that they didn't. And crowd seemed into it. Crowd seemed like they were there, so I'm not sure what the reasoning for that was.
Entire time, they every hit, every every break out of a submission. These two really showed off that they were more technically apt than half the other wrestlers that were on the card tonight. Basically, they said, we're not going to do carnage, we're going to do actual good wrestling. And so obviously that belongs on the buy-in, not an actual card.
Yeah. The Vegas crowd was definitely into it. I know that we normally talk about the length of not only the amount of women's matches that are on the card, but also the length. However, I personally, and I might be alone on my little island on this, I liked the way that this ended. I thought that was great. You had that dramatic thing where Deanna was trying to get the rope and Thunder put her foot up there, and then just like out of the corner of the camera, you see Deanna, grab the rope, and then into the rollover for the 1, 2, 3. I'm hyped for Thunder Deanna part 3, I should say. This was a beautiful match from start to finish. I mean, I could, but I don't want to waste everyone's time. It's a beautiful match. Beautiful match.
It was great.
And a match on an actual card. Just bring it there. That's all we need.
Right.
Seriously,
yes.
for sure.
I feel like, and we've talked about this at length, and I don't want to beat said horse again, but the women are always bringing it. And this should have been squeezed into the main card somehow. I have a problem with another women's match, which we'll talk about later on down the line, because I have some questions on how one of those went. But we'll get there. This was fun. This was great. I can't find my replay. I had a question that I was going to bring to y'all, but I can't find my notes, so I quit.
Selfishly, I hope we either get something or something set up, because I'm going to the Collision taping this week, and we know Miss Thunder and Deanna are on Collision most of the time. So here's hoping that there's something there. But we move on from the match. I really liked a match that didn't need to happen. But before that, on the pre-show, and this is important because this sets up down the line, we get told that the Owen Hart tournament is happening relatively soon. I think this week is what I read somewhere. But this year's going to be a little bit different because there's actual big stakes involved. The winner of the women's and the men's tournament will get a championship match at All In at Wembley Stadium in August. So basically Royal Rumble rules, but in a tournament format where winner gets a championship match and will main event for the men and women's division at Wembley in August, which I think is actually really, really nice, which is something that we've been saying since the Owen Hart tournament came to be, that we should be adding stakes, and I'm glad that this year they're going for it.
Yeah. I agree with Callum in the chat there, but and I believe we're all on the same page. But this should have always been the thing, that the winner of the Owen Hart tournament gets a shot at the title. I don't. Like backstage, you never know what sort of legal wranglings and this, that, and the other are going on backstage. So I find it hard to believe that it was quite literally, Mrs. Owen Hart and Tony Khan were just sitting there drinking eggnog on Christmas Eve, and Tony turned to her and be like, "I say, do you know what I think we should do with the Owen Hart tournament?" No. Yeah, no. I think there was.
Okay, by the way, very well done.
It's a very good Tony Khan. That's a very good Tony Khan.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think there might have been some like legal wrangling or whatnot that they had to hash out before they can make this announcement. But it's a great announcement. And I think the finals are happening in July. At
July 10th in the hometown of Owen Hart himself.
Yeah, so we should be all through June we're going to be seeing the matches, and I'm excited.
We also got a prediction down here from Callum in the chat too, which honestly I can see part of it, but I don't believe that's where they're going to pull the trigger on that for him yet. I feel like there's probably other people involved that, like, especially with one of the returns we had tonight, there might be some intrigue with that, which I don't know.
Right.
If that's gonna be a thing.
I have my predictions already. I think the person who returned tonight, I think either that one or the other person that we got after our first match is going to win it. And I'm predicting the women's one. It's going to be the winner is going to be a returning Jamie Hayter.
Why not the old person we got from the 7th match? Come on.
No,
he deserves a run. Come on. If he
we'll get
ring
there.
that slow, he deserves a title shot.
We will talk about that, but I'm excited. This is what's going to carry us for June, because honestly, we're not getting a regular pay-per-view at the end of June because Forbidden Door season is upon us, and I cannot wait. we'll talk about a certain IWGP match and why I was upset. But anyways, all right, we move on from this little announcement to the second match in the buy-in.
Yay!
They do my boys dirty. How dare they? But we got a trios match. The Acclaimed versus Cage of Agony is what they're going by next. So,
okay.
You know, I like this match for what it was. I'm just upset that Cage of Agony, now that we broke them away from Swerve, are now getting jobbed out somewhat.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean,
yeah, I mean,
we're all doing the same thing.
I'm probably. Oh
God.
So I'm probably alone on my island on this, and that's fine. And that's fine. I don't think that they've been jobbed out. I think that this is the match that Cage of Agony needed for people to be to put them in the spotlight, to start getting the light shown on them, because I feel that they have in the past have played more of a jobber role, and I believe now that they are on their own, that they are going to be a legitimate threat, and what better way than with the Acclaim, because everyone loves the Acclaim, and it was a good match. It wasn't a jobber match or anything. We had, some shenanigans with Chance the Golden Knight's Gila monster, where, the whole chair thing there. But yeah, I thought it was good match. I mean, Daddy S comes out with the clutch roll up 1, 2, 3. So
did we watch the same match?
We have dissension in the ranks. I was getting ready I was cooking and cleaning and getting stuff ready because I knew I was going to sit down for 5.5 hours. So I was sort of glancing watching this. But I wasn't invested enough to sit down and go, oh, okay, great. I mean, I'm a Brian Cage nerd. I love the Brian Cage. Yep. I did hear bits and pieces of the shenanigans. I did see Daddy Ass coming at the end. But I was also in sort of a neutral, like, oh, okay, great. Now what? And I agree that I don't think they were jobbed out necessarily. I'm a little sort of, I just hope they don't get misused. I hope they do something interesting. But I was getting ready for the rest of the thing. Angry JVL.
Angry. I'm back in my old days of when, like, NXT Black and Gold, when I was like, oh, these guys are so much better than this. I've seen them do so much. Gates of Agony, Brian Cage, if you've watched ROH for the last 2 years, they are unstoppable.
Sure.
The minute they get brought up to the main roster, they get jobbed out over and over again, kind of like every other tag team that's been dragged up there. Callum had also said that Daddy Ass is getting the Sting push. I slightly disagree. I think Daddy Ass is getting the Jericho push in the same, like, he can't lose on pay-per-view. The same. And we're having this replay of, like, WCW in the early 90s or the late 90s, where these older stars are just like, they can't lose on TV. And I'm sitting there going with this one, like, the match wasn't that good. The tone was set for me when Max Caster's rap was at best passably rhyming.
Yeah.
Nothing else about it made sense. It seemed like he smashed a bunch together that made no sense. And that's how the match went, where they had a bunch of great ideas and a couple of shenanigan pieces that just didn't meld. And it seemed like they were out of time with each other, which these 6 guys usually are pretty good about. I mean, you can look at the faces we put up right here, right there. We did it. We're here. We got through it. Like,
that's kind of what that looks like
on the early thing. Yeah, I don't know if it's because they were on early or because Daddy Ass had to get the win or what it was, but this was an afterthought for all of them, even coming into performing it, and it just was kind of like, ugh. Sure. They need a less ass is what they need, not a gimmick change. They just need less ass.
Callum says they need a gimmick change, and I'm kind of inclined to agree a little bit.
or a shift or something, right? They've gotten kind of stuck in this.
Everyone shouldn't love the Acclaimed anymore. Everyone should hate the Acclaimed.
Make us hate the Acclaimed. I mean, that could be interesting.
I'm sorry, Adolfo. I don't know what match you watched.
No. We did watch the same match because you did see a Gila monster take a steel chair away from Brian Cage. Yes,
I did.
So
see
I want to.
There
I want to
go.
talk
We
about
did see
that
this.
for really quickly. You know, as weird as it is, I kind of like the consistency because last time we were in Vegas, we had Brian Cage and the mascot go at it on Rampage too. So there's that consistency with it.
Yeah.
Is Brian Cage Kane with like the chicken that turns out to be Pete Rose now? Is that what's happening?
Maybe. But I will say this. I get that the buy-in is supposed to be just matches to have matches to get the crowd warmed up and to get people to want to buy the pay-per-view. I will say Thunder versus Deanna, while it could have went longer, I could make a case to say, you know what? If this is what we're getting, I could probably check out this pay-per-view. This did not need to be there because I did not care. The Acclaim in this picture look like they don't care. They're just running out of gas.
When the FTW match does better than this one on the card, that tells you something.
Owie.
Ow.
And I agree with Callum. Been saying this for the longest time. Anthony Bowens for a singles run. Let's go.
I agree, Callum. I absolutely agree, Callum.
Speaking of which, did you see Bowens on this one trying to like interrupt Max? Like you're rambling, man. We got to get through this and actually get my heart in here. Like seriously.
I did catch that while I was prepping stuff.
But the Acclaim pick up the victory over Cage of Agony. I want better for Cage of Agony. I love the Acclaim, but we need to figure out something. Well, we only have 4 trios, and we're kind of like their trios division is like non-existent at this point with AEW because they're always on the pre-show. Like it's ridiculous. It just happened to be that we actually had the trios championships on the main show, but the buy-in is done. Now let's get into the main card where AEW decided to hold my beer because we opened up with the International Championship match between Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay. I want to make the disclaimer here that this part worried me a little bit. And I couldn't find the picture at the exact moment, but everybody knows the aftermath of what happened here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, Matt Taven almost clipped himself. He did clip himself, and Ospreay landed on his head.
Yeah, that looked terrifying.
But after a few moments and everyone collected themselves, this match just went, and it did not stop until we got to the end. And, I was not expecting this so soon, but Will Ospreay is your new AEW International Champion. This match banged. I loved it so much.
Were you not, though?
I know. Really? They're turning him into the belt collector. They're going to combine like 6 belts on him just to make sure they can get rid of some of the singles titles they have out there.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, I'm wondering. I did pick Ospreay to win this one. I felt like that was...
Really?
It was so... Yeah, I thought it was obvious to me. Mikey was the only one who missed it. Mikey, what's wrong?
I picked Roderick. Well, here's the
thing.
I picked Roddy to retain because I figured that we can get this to one more pay-per-view because, we still have the whole Devil saga. Now, this was before what happened after the match, and that kind of imploded, and we just got rid of that whole entire storyline for no apparently reason. And yeah, Callum, Tony literally mentioned another belt in the post. Like, AEW needs more belts.
Everybody is a champion. Everybody. No.
It's like the UFC. It's why I stopped watching the UFC at one point. I thought this match was great. I thought they were incredible. I wanted more in the middle. If that's where it's such. I felt like
You want like a double stuffed Oreo? Like what are you talking about?
I want all the Oreos in another Oreo inside a
deep
package.
fried.
Oh, the Scottish way. There was like a lull about 5 minutes in the middle of this. They got a long time. There was a section in the middle where I wasn't sure where we were going. They worked great together. I think they knew how they were going to begin this thing. They obviously knew where the interference was coming and how they were going to end this thing. I'm not saying Roderick Strong got in his head a little bit, but there was some where are we going where we were just sort of calling bits and they weren't quite landing the way I think they could or should have. It ended strong, absolutely. I don't think Will Ospreay can do a normal jump. I think Will Ospreay has to twist or spin or do something to something to his butt. He can't just jump straight up. He has to do a thing.
John, you have to call it a person's stim. Every one of us does different things.
That's what it is. Yes, I agree. I agree. This was not. I'll say this for the whole card. There's only one that I put on my match of the year. Watch this, rewatch this as a contender match, and it was not this one. I already have like 7 Will Ospreay ones on there. Yeah. I've just seen him do better work, and I'm sure him and Roderick rehearsed and they did what they needed to do. There was something lacking from this, even though the last 5 minutes of this were, fireworks, absolutely. But I agree. I think they were leaning more on story than spectacle.
Okay, I feel I'm again gonna be alone on my island, and that's fine because on my island we have the best piña coladas. So. I thought that this match was another fantastic match from Will Ospreay. Was it the 5 gold star match? No, but it was fantastic. I thought that the storytelling through the wrestling was great. I do have to note that in this house, Will Ospreay is not called Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is called Blue Pants. That was dubbed by my 5-year-old.
Leva Bates is going to be so angry right now.
Yep. So and also on a complete sidebar, for the past 48 hours, my 5-year-old has been trying to do corkscrew jumps off of the couch and off of his bed. And I'm not lying. He keeps, Mommy, Daddy, watch what I can do. And we're like, no.
Oh my goodness.
So, something about stimming?
Yeah, what? Yeah, exactly. About the stimming. Yeah.
Is he doing it onto a teddy bear? Like, is there a teddy bear in the middle of the bed? He's going,
no, we've been stomping him because, we don't want that hospital visit. But if this match inspires him to be a professional wrestler or, even first steps to go into gymnastics, thank you, Will Ospreay. Thank you. But yeah, I thought, this was a great, another great Ospreay banger. So there we go.
I think I don't want to make it sound like I didn't like this match.
Right.
I feel like Will Ospreay has set the bar so high that
I can get behind that.
I'm taking it for granted to the point where every time I see Will, I'm like, oh, well, this is another match of the year contender. Yeah. And when it's not, I'm like, oh, what have you done wrong?
Yeah. I can't remember which review it was, but I think I had said like a week ago, a month ago, or what have you, Will Ospreay doesn't need to keep giving us 5-star gold bangers. You know what I mean? I think maybe this was after the Bryan Danielson match.
You were correct. Yes, you were correct.
Because it was just like Takeshita was awesome. Danielson was awesome. He had one more in there.
He had a couple more in there, definitely.
Yeah.
Didn't he face Kyle O'Reilly?
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly. That was a beautiful match as well. But yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say a bad Will Ospreay match is still a phenomenal regular wrestler match. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
Well, go for it, JVO.
No, I just this match, and you were showing pictures of it earlier. This match set the tone for the card where this evening was not a wrestling card. This was a Hollywood stunt fanatic card from all the stuff that happened with the jump over, like that jump into the timekeepers area is one you see stuntmen do in movies. Same thing with other stuff that happened tonight. There was just some stuff that was like way beyond what professional wrestling has been, and it kind of leaned into that, like we are now stunt performers. I don't know. I'm with you on the fact that it wasn't one of his best matches in terms of maybe work rate or anything else because he's done better. I'm with Adolfo, and this is one of the better matches in the fact that like it furthered a story in a very good way, having Dom Fallis at ringside and having him like call things out where like they set up Fallis not being able to control his family all night. So I was okay with that, and I was okay with the way it was set up. He definitely worked a match that told more story than his usual like spot, win. And I loved it.
Exactly. And, I got to highlight Callum here, too, because he states, I think a lot of it was setting up what comes next because the Undisputed Kingdom need time off to make the story work. And why do they need time off? Well, I'm glad y'all asked, because post-match, first we get an Adam Cole coming in to try to do story time with Adam Cole, baby. But then the Titantron interrupts him.
It was insult time with Adam Cole.
Yeah, insult time with Adam Cole. We get a pre-taped video package of someone giving a first-person Resident Evil 7 like
that was the longest hallway I've ever seen.
Exactly. I was waiting for the biohazard to pop out and everything. But in his best Triple H cosplay,
seriously leaning into it, and he was not as jacked as Triple H, but like seriously.
But Maxwell Jacob Freeman has returned. He is on our television screen, and after a Dick Kick City, this man cuts like a 10-minute promo.
Yeah,
but ooh, child, it's about to get buck wild this summer.
I'm so mad I didn't make prop bets because I would have gone 3 for 3 on my prop bets, and this was the first one I was going to make. I'm so much excited. I was on another group text that was talking about Double or Nothing, and they literally said it seems like MJF and Adam Cole flipped a coin on who's going to do what for Triple H. I'll wear the jacket. You have the hair and the spit thing. Okay, like they just split up how they were going to treat the crowd and do what they did. I thought this was a great promo from him. I think it ran a little long. I'm not saying he was rusty. I think he was feeling the crowd for the first time in a while and was sort of sitting in it from time to time. I love that he's back. I love that he's ready to work. I hope his injuries all cleared up and everything's fine. The Vince McMahon jab came out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere, but like surprised me. Like, oh, we're just throwing shots all the time. I said this a month or two back. I think AEW is pushing that Attitude Era feel again. Like they're just going for it more and more and more and more, particularly of some of the promos Edge has done and the backstage stuff. We talked about that. And all of Double or Nothing sort of solidified that for me. And this felt like an Attitude Era style promo. I mean, an MJF promo, but it felt very targeted, very insulty, very, I'm going to do this for the crowd and for the pops. I'm going to be your scumbag type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Can I ask a relevant question to this promo and everything else from you, John, especially with your experience and everything else? You have other friends than us and talk to you about wrestling, and who are they?
I know. Are they your hot friends?
Remember that one hot friend that I keep trying to get on the podcast?
Tell us he's going to come on the podcast.
He's not he has a itty bitty baby now, so he hasn't had time to watch anything. But every now and then he'll text me things. So
we got bitty bitty babies here too.
I have a hot dad friend. I got to get my hot dad friend on here.
You get every hot friend on here.
All my friends are hotter than me. I've told you this, guys.
Yes, and we've seen the receipts. We've seen pictures.
Hot friend.
Hot
almost famous friend. Yeah. Go.
So everyone that was not in bed when MJF came out in this house was glued to every word he said in the 10 minutes that he was on in the ring talking. Very excited that he's back. I feel that if I may, I feel that he's probably going to do the Mercedes Moné thing, where they introduce him, but we actually won't see him back in the ring for maybe a month and a half, 2 months, because unless all the injuries that they were reporting on him were works and him going in for surgery and blah, blah, blah. I think it did come out that his shoulder injury, that brace that he was wearing, it's not that his shoulder wasn't hurt, but he was kind of, working it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of ways, a lot of directions. There's a lot of receipts that need to be cashed in, and we're here for the return of MJF. Definitely.
And also addressing the fact that he's not going to do the kangaroo kick anymore. He's not here for this or that. he really kind of ran down the last year and a half.
Right.
I also, and I say this from noticing it at the end of his run there, he is fully slimmed down quite a bit, which may mean he has gotten off a lot of the juice he was on at the end of last year, which I'm very happy about because just for his health and for everything else. It was not alleged. There were scars and acne on the back that you could see in every match.
Yes, but for the protection of our little channel, I'm going to say allegedly.
Either way, I'm happy to see him taking it seriously. He's in a Bret Hart mode right now with the way he's built, and I'm very happy for that because that'll open more things up for him because he was definitely playing with a lot more aerial stuff and a lot more technical stuff at the end versus just kind of brawling, and I want to see if he's gone farther down that road.
You know, I am happy. Callum, rest in peace, the kangaroo kick, but I'm here for anything MJF is doing. And I think that now that, for me personally, now that we've had some time away from MJF, whereas towards the tail end of 2023, I was getting really sick of how we were booking him from, especially it kind of really kicked into gear after his match with Jay White from Full Gear onwards. It was kind of like, I don't really know what we're doing. But now that MJF is back, I'm excited to see what the summer is in store for this man because Wembley is right around the corner in 2 months. It's about to get crazy.
MJF Okada, give it to me now.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wow.
Honestly, MJF versus any of the newer folks we have in the men's division, period.
Yeah, and I'm sad to see the Brochacho storyline go the way of it because it was a really cool thing that set up what's been going on lately. But unless they can get Adam Cole healthy, there's no way he's going to be involved for a while, which is sad.
That was my favorite thing for 9 months. We talked about it at length.
Yeah. Oh, no. Professor and I, especially when Mikey wasn't there, we spent podcast after podcast talking about how much we just loved the vignettes.
Because there were a chunk of dynamites that did not work. The only thing that did was MJF and Adam Cole in a Chinese food restaurant. Nothing else was worth it.
It was a fantastic run when we got that during the spring. It was good. But MJF is back. This kind of changes things and changes the landscape a little bit. And this was just the opening match plus what happened afterwards. We still had 9 whole matches to go. So
Excalibur said, like, we're 37 minutes into this, folks, and that's what we're getting for it.
This was kind of crazy. So, all right. So I'm going to preface by saying this. The next string of matches vary from okay to it's pretty decent to but because now we're going to get into the stretch of matches. I was like, I feel like some of these could have been reserved for a main event on Dynamite. Didn't necessarily need to be on the pay-per-view. We will talk about that in a sec. But after our opening match, Will Ospreay is your new AEW International Championship. We have another championship match on the line for the Unified World Trios Championships. We had the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White, and the Guns taking on the reunited Death Triangle. You know, on paper, I wanted to hate this match because the trios division is kind of like non-existent at the moment because nobody knows what to do with it. I have to say, I have missed the Lucha Brothers in the ring so much. Oh my gosh. I miss them so much. But as far as the match goes, you know what? It was a lot better than I thought it was. And I said this on the Collision review too. I think I can start seeing the Guns get better because they actually had a pretty good match on Collision. But as much as I enjoyed this match, we still need to figure out what we're doing with the trios division. But I am happy for a certain somebody we'll talk about returning. But I liked it. I liked all the people involved in this match.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I'm again, it's El Buntador, La Isla del El Buntador dos, and I'm fine with that. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I felt that the Guns, like Mikey said, working with the Lucha Bros and Pac, I felt like the Guns did elevate their game. This to me seemed like the best match that they have wrestled, building off of that match in Collision. Jay White, of course, as always, was fantastic. I disagree. I feel like the trios division is now starting to heat up, especially with the introduction of Death Triangle. As we had discussed in the Collision review, I was going to be okay if the match was good and we can set up a part 2. So the match was was good. I was going to be okay with the Bang Bang Gang winning because of course, I mean, Death Triangle. Hello. I was going to be okay if the Bang Bang Gang won, as long as, it was a good match and it set up for a part 2. So in my opinion, the match was good. We do have to now wait to see if we're going to get a part 2 on this because, the ending, if you want to argue, the Bang Bang Gang didn't, well, it's no argue. They didn't get a clean win because we had a returning Juice Robinson. And
What?
I mean, that was just, returning Juice. I just we've been wondering where he was. And I was going to be mad if shenanigans caused the Bang Bang Gang to win, but Juice oversteps that. So I'm good. I enjoyed this match. I like where the trios division is heading. Oh, I'm alone on my island. Thank you.
You're not entirely alone. I've had a hard time with trios matches because for the last year they've always been thrown onto Dynamite as this weird spectacle of look, 6 people in the ring, and it was usually a cluster bleep and it was hard to watch. This was not hard to watch. This was fun. My heart did stop after that one DDT that Pac took, and everybody in the whole crowd went, oh, and just the way he sold that as half seizure, half I'm in pain was bloody terrifying. But outside of that, I did enjoy this. I enjoyed the pacing of it. I think like Mikey was saying, this felt like a perfect, beautiful Dynamite match. This felt like we just ended Dynamite on the highest we could. I'm not sure what was lacking here for me. I thought they all worked together. I am glad to see the Guns getting better. There's been some matches in the past few months on Dynamite, and other times I've seen them where I'm like, do you know how tags work? What's happening? But I didn't have a problem with this. It held my interest. I do think it got overshadowed because, hey, Juice is here, and we've been waiting to see where Juice Robinson is. So I don't want to talk it to death, but you're not alone on your island. I mean, I'm there. I'm sort of docked in your island, I guess.
At least you get to dock. I'm just circling still because there's no more docks left. I will say the embodiment of what this match was from the entrance, where Rey Fenix missed his cue, slipped, but then just passed it off like something was fine.
Yeah,
That's kind of how this match went, where there were the missteps, misfires. Like you said, it's a very good Dynamite match. I think I would say this would have ended a Dynamite going into a pay-per-view, and this would have been like a proving ground match where they ended up going the 10 minutes. So all of that happened, and then they were going to have the big match next to actually have it, because
sure,
what I got from this the most, other than Jay White working very well, was the Guns, when they're given an opponent that can sell for them, they look spectacular. They themselves cannot generate that with a talent that maybe is not on the same page as them yet.
Sure.
And that's what's holding them back, and is that while character-wise they've grown, their in-ring working is slightly better than their dad's. And that's not saying much. Jay White carries a lot of it. I love the Juice is loose in all of our faces. We love Juice in the face right there where you need it. It's great. Just like Tony Storm does. And it's wonderful to see the group back together. I'm with you. I feel like this is not like a rubber match done. They need to have another match like that. But I feel like it's going to be unfortunately done to death, where now it's one part of this group is going to fight another part of this group for weeks on end to get to the next pay-per-view. And it's just I don't need that. I need one more match of these trios, put them together, and have what happened happen. But this was just not it.
Well said. I am happy to see Death Triangle come back, especially because we got Rey Fenix a couple weeks ago, and then he went on television again. But it seems that everyone is squared away. And honestly,
MCL slipping on the ramp, seriously.
We don't need to. But okay, so the next set of couple of matches. Let me just put this up to here real quick.
Oh no, this means something. Something's coming.
Switchblade babysitting the ass boys. Is that what's happening, or I don't know?
No, because the next match we're going to talk about, I might upset a couple of people, and I might get thrown off this podcast. So you have been warned ahead of time.
Wait, are you on El Buntador Island now? Is that is something happening?
I mean,
Island. Do you pay taxes on this island?
So I want to get into this match.
Let's not get into that.
That's where our investments. I'm a resident of Bunter Island too.
But before we get to that, Callum, I agree. Juice and Switchblade need to be doing something more than babysit the young ass boys.
I would agree with that.
I agree with this.
Ass boys. No, wait.
Oh, good callback. Oh, someday someone should get that joke.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
So here we are. We get, after that Trios Championship match, we get into our next one, the AEW Women's World Championship match. Timeless Toni Storm defending her title against the Professor of 1,000 Submissions, Serena Deeb. Okay. I just want to start by saying this. I love both of these women involved in this match. I think both of them individually are great, and I know that they have awesome matches.
This is a lot of caveats here.
I'm gonna say this. I want to say the first 75% of the match, for me personally, I felt that it took Toni and Serena to kind of finally click. And then the last 25% of the match is when they just started, all right, we got this. Let's just do everything we can. And the back end of the match was fantastic. It just took a little bit to get there for me. And I'm kind of disappointed by this match. And maybe I put too much expectation into this because I love Serena and I know how great Toni is. But I feel that they didn't get enough time to click and to figure out what they wanted to do. But yeah, that's where I stand. This wasn't a bad match, but I was kind of underwhelmed and a little bit disappointed.
I agree with you. I think the first half of this, they were very off, in my opinion. There were some moments where Toni Storm would go for a thing and wait for that hot second for Serena Deeb. Oh, right. And then jump under and other things and catch this. Say what?
I'm just thinking of Juice Robinson for a minute. Anyway.
Can you send me this photo? There's a few.
You can't say that out loud. Anyways, continue.
There was just like some of these cues and these things in the beginning where sort of like, did they remember? Did they know this and then this? I agree that the last half of this, they kind of got the momentum back for sure. I'm trying to find a spot. There was one spot in particular where they both froze because they didn't know what to do. It was before
the Sky High. It was the run to the ropes that turned into a headlock.
That sounds right. Yes. And there was sort of this eye contact, like aha. Oh, and they got stuck in the Spider-Man meme for just a second, and then they jumped into something else and kept going. Which is unfortunate because this isn't the best work I've seen of them. I know I'm relatively new to Serena Deeb's work. I've checked out some videos and I've looked up what she's done, and she looks and seems incredible. And we all know Toni Storm, so yeah, it's kind of fell flat, and that's unfortunate. I'm not saying I did not like it. I love women's wrestling, but I wanted so much more from this. Maybe I set the bar too high, like you said, Mikey.
You want to go, JVL?
Sure, I'll jump in here. First off, commentary did them no service, as per usual in this. I don't.
Get Ian and Caprice on there. I'm sorry. Just throw the ROH commentary team for the women's matches from now on. Like, come on now.
I mean, yes, the joke with Nigel McGuinness about the fact that he wears, children's medium polo shirts. Yeah. That's funny. Great on that. But I agree with the fact that it was clunky at the top. Yeah. It seemed like Deeb was not in performance mode. She was in coach mode, like we're running through this during rehearsal.
Sure.
And she was moving about half speed, and Toni was trying to keep up, but like move things along. And I don't know whether that was ring rust or that was just Deeb not trusting where things were. Now, she could have had something happen health wise or anything else that was that, but it just, these styles, while not the same, do work together in a certain way and can work together, but you need to trust your partner. And I just feel like there wasn't that connection there until after the Sky High, when they finally said, oh, okay, this is the speed we're running now. We're getting there. Now, what I did love was the setup of Deeb not taking the hip attack multiple times during this bout and building to it where she flips her off. But it just seemed like getting there was a problem. Setting up the Luther split was a weird thing at that time because that was used to set up the Mariah May split from her at some point down the road.
Oh, the towel bit, the thing with the towel and the thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think once they looked past Serena, the match started to work. where Serena wasn't a threat anymore to win.
Sure.
Like we knew she wasn't going to win the title, and that's tough because she really could do. Again, she's in that mold of, and I know it's weird to say, Dean Malenko, of like she is technically super sound. I feel like her performance level is at like a 50%. And she needs to knock herself up like to a 75 to even compete with half these people. Just having joy being out there and fluidity.
So I'm alone on my island here.
To be a running theme for the whole entire night, I see.
Damn right.
A nice place there.
Yeah, there's a nice shady tree and everything. So I thought that this match was a very entertaining match. I will agree to a certain point that it did take a little bit to get going, but I thoroughly enjoyed this Rocky 1 end match with Apollo Creed where Toni Storm is just getting beat, and then you got that whole thing where Mariah May has the towel and she wants to throw it in and Luther's like no, and then he takes the towel and then Tony's like you know, like I was all wrong pay-per-view, but I was all in on this match.
That's what was missing was the whole cut me moment. It would have worked if they had worked that in.
Yeah. Cut me, Mariah.
Cut me.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought that Serena Deeb looked really good. I thought that everything that Toni threw at her, she just like skillfully got out of it and then put Toni into one of her one of her holds, and it felt like Toni had no idea whether to use the ladies' room or wind her watch, because I'm el bundador numero dos. I don't curse. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. A little bit of a slow start, but I thought this match told a great story. I thought that this was a very Hollywood match for the timeless one.
Worthy of Garbo or Grabo, as Nigel said.
Yes.
I think if we look at, for me, hearing you say that, El Buntador, I think hearing that, if we look at it through that lens, then I 100% agree with you. I think I wanted more in terms of the wrestling, but as far as like a Hollywood classic as what you described it, I actually like that idea. And if I view the match from that lens, then by all means, I 100% agree with you. I think it's fantastic. I think for me, because I know what Serena can do technical wise, and I know that Toni Storm has a bag of tricks, in her arsenal as well. I think I wanted more technical stuff, but all to say, I didn't think this was a bad match. It's just, for me personally, I was a little underwhelmed, but it was definitely a lot better than some other matches we are going to talk about later in the evening. But I love these two. And honestly, you guys, I think Mariah is next in line based on the scrum too. I think we're finally going to pull that trigger on Mariah versus Toni.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go. I was saying something stupid. You're saying something important. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel that this does set up now that the split of Mariah May from Toni Storm,
Sure.
And again, I feel like it's gonna play out like this Hollywood, soap opera drama, because you're gonna have. I feel like Luther is gonna be the one that like kind of starts it up and then is gonna plant the seeds, and then I'm here for it. But yes, I feel that Mariah May is next.
I agree, and I think that might be where we were going, and maybe subconsciously that's what took me out of it.
But why then use it with Serena Deeb at that point? You're sacrificing her to that.
I don't want to talk too much because we have more things to talk about. I will say this was the start of everyone getting Toni Storm confetti on their back, and me thinking they were bleeding from the back for the rest of the night. And it must have happened about 100 times. I thought Rainmaker had a gouge in his back at one point. Like, what? How? That's the confetti. Oh my God.
It's timeless.
It is timeless. And I'm going to bring that up a little bit later during a certain eliminator match where I thought Moxley was bleeding from his back and somehow because of that confetti. But we'll get to that match because before that. Okay. So once again, I really enjoyed these two wrestling. I thought the match itself was fantastic. I thought we kind of finished at least the chapter on Dynamite 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "Puck it, let's have it again on the pay-per-view." I will say I did appreciate Orange Cassidy coming out in a little bit darker in his ring attire. Like, he's embracing that darkness a little bit. Fantastic. Trent and Orange are fantastic wrestlers. I thought the match itself was great. Again, though, I feel that we could have had this main event a Dynamite or even a Collision if we wanted to. And here's the thing, I think I would have liked this match a little bit more had we not seen these two fight like 2 weeks ago.
You could have put this on the buy-in and moved the women's match up.
I would agree.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
But
I know they know each other. I know they love each other. I love that Orange Cassidy being darker is using the Pixies as an entrance. That's what darker Orange Cassidy is. I know these were two friends who've known each other for a long time, who know each other very well, who went out there and did something very solid. Did it belong in the middle of a pay-per-view? Should it have closed the Dynamite? Maybe. Could it have made 0 Hour far more interesting? Probably. It probably would have put them in a better position because now storyline-wise, they're sort of stuck anyway because we didn't finish or start anything new. This was just here. And that's unfortunate. I don't think it was a bad match by any means. I think they might have checked out a little at certain spots. But, you know, the pile driver on the apron, nobody wants to take that. There was something, there was one of the DDT things that got reversed into something beautiful at one point. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. So they did some good work here. But again, this felt like this should be your main event for Dynamite. Why is this in the middle of a pay-per-view?
And then to bring up what Callum said too, because I kind of agree. Had there been a different finish where Trent won, I think that would have
spoiled.
I think, I mean, the reign of terror that is Orange Cassidy, I think would be great because even though I pick Orange to win, I would have been okay with the Trent to win here because I think Trent has now lost 2 in a row to Orange Cassidy.
That's why I picked Trent to win because who needed the win more?
Trent
did.
Yeah, but if it makes sense, they're not going to do it. You have to do the opposite of the pick.
But anyways, El Buntador the second weigh in shall be. How do you feel about this match?
What's the wrestling in Ireland for this?
So the weather is always beautiful on la Isla de Buntador dos. I'm just saying. Beautiful ocean breezes, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, wrestling wise, this was a great match to watch. They've worked with each other so much. And we saw this match a week ago. But they work really well together. Yes, I agree though. I feel like this match would have been better served either on buy-in, and then you can take Thunder and Diana and put them up here, or highlighting a Dynamite or main eventing a Rampage because this is where we saw these guys a lot was Rampage. Just saying, they were on Rampage. Just want to say that. Anyway,
did you sit on your keys? Are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
Cloud move through.
The thing that I did not like was the aftermatch where you had Rocky Romero and
Renee
running out and trying to catch Trent on the way out, and he just kind of gave a very I'm done like answering, just ran out. I don't feel did him any favors,
No, I buried him.
I would have much rather some sort of like backstage segment where they would have caught him. But yeah, that whole with them running out thing and him just leaving, that bothered me. I mean, and where do we go from here? Supposedly, Don Callis has a contract for someone to sign with the Don Callis family, and he's been he's been serenading Orange Cassidy, so we might be seeing the birth of Dark Orange.
Blasted Cassidy?
Yeah.
Blood Orange Cassidy.
Blood Orange Cassidy.
Blood Orange Cassidy. Or honestly, I can also see Dynamite. This is a fake out. Don has been pining for Orange Cassidy to join the Don Callis family, but in reality, he's been working with Trent behind the scenes, and Trent's the new member.
But then why do you have Trent lose?
I don't know. I don't work for AEW. I'm just a random person on the internet that reviews their pay-per-views.
Maybe it's that whole thing where Don Callis is like tapping into your anger. Yes, your anger, fear. Yes. Come join the Don Callis dark side. Yes.
Sound just like him, but still.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Callum, you bring up a good point. Trent loses because he needs the family. Maybe. And I mean, Kyle Fletcher is still kind of on the outs of, from a couple weeks ago when we were at Daly's place too. So we might be setting a whole implosion, which I'm kind of here for. But also, it's getting kind of messy because Hobbs is out injured. Will and Kyle is like, will they, won't they in this family? Trent's probably going to be there. It's an interesting thing for sure.
I will say, if they had switched this with the Deonna Thunder match, it could have been fun to have Deonna and Serena Deeb cross paths on the ramp.
Yes,
that would have been
cool.
Because that match would be baller for sure.
Yeah.
But Orange Cassidy wins. We shall see where we go with this. All right, kids. I need everybody to gird their loins for this one.
I mean, I'm girding. Oh, the smile.
Just rip the Band-Aid off, man.
Okay.
Just do it.
All right. But before we do all that,
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's talk.
Going to say?
Okay.
let's talk. I will go first because I'm going to be very controversial with this one.
Please say something controversial.
The match itself was not bad.
How dare you?
I did not hate it for what it was, only because I enjoyed Hook and Shibata kind of doing a 2-on-1 situation for most of this match and then also fighting each other. But I didn't hate this match until we got to, after Large Williams stepped in to help Jericho a little bit. I didn't hate the match up until we got the second visitor in this match, which we'll get into in a little bit. But
the minute that happened, all I could hear in my head was Mikey screaming. Because
don't worry.
I'm
gonna visually show you the range of emotions that I was feeling when we get to that. But as far as the match itself, first of all, I didn't hate this match. This spot could have gone really bad because they overshot that table, and I got worried because Shibata, I love you, but
they ruined 3 very good table spots. This one they missed. The one with Large William, he could have died. Did you all see what happened to that table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leg
that table, the leg
man.
goes through it. Boom.
Yeah.
If he hit an inch or so, that would have been much death.
I'm expecting in Botchamania there's going to be a thing about tables out for people, like actually
tables. Yeah, exactly. These tables were trying to kill people.
These tables.
I know that that what's his face complained about the music budget, but what was the table budget for this pay-per-view?
I don't know, man.
So many tables.
I just replayed it. You could see Bill look up at the leg and for a moment go, oh fuck, and then
he almost died.
Like he knows how close he was.
Humongous Wilhelm nearly lost his arm.
Like that would have been terrifying.
Indeed.
I actually thought there were some cool moments. I'm picky with FTW stuff because to me hardcore matches are hardcore things. Like the match we saw later on, which that's what an FTW match should kind of sort of look and feel like. That's my opinion. This is not an FTW match. I like the dice touch. I thought that was actually kind of cool. It looks like
that from the Macho Mage.
And from Brandon
That's
Cutler.
a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
And then throw the dice.
Brandon Cutler did the same thing with D&D dice. So I mean, like, come on.
Oh man, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
And it was funny that Jericho pulled the dice out and then took the next 3 spots on the dice. I'm convinced none of them know how to use kendo sticks. Because they tend to hit the very tip of the thing and just sort of me, as opposed to someone like, I don't know, John Moxley, who just swings it like an axe handle because that's how you use them. Yeah. I'm very disappointed about the other appearance that we saw because it makes me super sad for how we're using said gentleman. After we just talked on Dynamite about we want to see more of said gentleman, but not like this.
We'll get to that in a little bit. JVL, let's talk about the match before I give you the slideshow and my emotions of what happened afterwards.
Slideshow at all. I'm with you, Professor, on the upping of the thing. So I never give a lot to Jericho on a lot of these things, but him upping the ante each time from tax to pucks last time, which also super dangerous for what he used them for, to dice, which hurt like hell. And like, I could see them bumping on the dice each time in different ways and landing and like scrambling on them. Those are like, they're like ice mixed with really sharp object. It's like worse than Lego.
Please do Legos next time. Please just
Lego. But all of that said, the inventiveness of it has definitely gone up. I really enjoyed that part of the inventiveness of it. I think having people other than Jericho in it allowed it to be a better match because there was actually moves that could be pulled off. If this had been Jericho one-on-one with somebody else, I don't believe it would have resonated as much, especially with his migrating chest muscles that were worse and worse. I don't want Jericho on my screens anymore, and not for the reason he thinks, and yet he seems to still draw something out of folks in this mid-card as he's going along. But now the vortex is complete. He's got his own band back together because Mikey, the minute that Hood figure came out and he put Shibata in the trash can, I'm like, it's got to be this person, and Mikey is going to throw a fit at all of us because Mikey gets angry when people mistreat.
It's Brian Keith, everyone.
Keith, there you go.
It's Brian Keith. For the love of empanadas, it's Brian Keith.
For the love of
stop tiptoeing around.
Notice, try not to curse. We're a family-friendly channel, not really.
That's right.
But so as soon as this mask came off, and this is who it was. First and foremost, this contradicted what we covered on Dynamite because Brian Keith stepped up to Jericho and said that I'm not done with you. So I was like, oh, cool. Maybe he's going to put like what Brian Keith is known to do on the indies, where he puts a bounty on these wrestlers' heads and then comes for them. I was confused, confuzzled, upset, PO'd. There was so many emotions, and I'm just gonna show you a slideshow real quick of Brian Keith helping Chris Jericho for a little bit. So there's this one.
Okay.
This is how it starts. Okay. This is how it starts, and then it just gets crazier because we go. Then we go right here.
Classic.
Yeah.
Then this one.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
There's this one, and then I go from here.
all the top 10 so far. Thank you for this.
There's this one. This is where I reached the boiling point.
Yeah.
Then I was on the incline, and then this is where I ended up.
Did you feel all of these within 5 seconds?
I did.
Oh my goodness, child. Oh, child. Ave Maria.
If they can explain this away as it was a bounty Jericho took out, then I might be better off with this. But everything in this screams that Brian Keith is joining the Jericho vortex of doom. And that's the problem, because I would think if he had been given a bounty at someone, he would have come out in his own garb. He wouldn't have been hiding under a mask.
Yeah.
I agree with Callum. This was the prefect level of goofy for a lower mid card match.
Sure.
No, I agree with that statement though. I thought that this was a perfect fun match. I thought that this was a good a good sorbet palate cleanser to get us to what was coming up next.
What sorbet did we
because we had some heavy hitters coming up after this one.
That sorbet just gave you an aneurysm. That's not very good.
Is this like Fresno chili sorbet? Like,
it didn't give me an aneurysm. I will say though, admittedly, I will say I was baffled. Yes, I was fry when Brian Keith came out.
There you go.
I didn't think that was necessary. But if Brian Keith gets a solo shot at Jericho, then I'll be okay with what happened.
That's kind of what I was going to say. If we're going to see more Brian Keith because of this,
yes,
I guess I just have to take the medicine because I like Brian Keith a lot.
I'm going to disagree in that respect. I don't want to see more of Brian Keith under Jericho's learning tree. I want to see more of Brian Keith saying, I use this as an opportunity to get at that title, and I did the wrong thing. But
I hope that's where we're going. But if I still want to see the guy, he hasn't been on Dynamite in forever.
Also, why Shibata got take pin?
Well, I was going to say, I picked Hook to
man.
do the pin, but why is Shibata getting pinned all the time? I was like, ugh, it makes me mad.
By the way, if you go back and watch, Hook almost killed that security guard, local talent that almost came out that ramp. Dude threw him straight onto his head. Bam!
He almost killed Large William, then he almost killed the security guard. It's almost like he's a little bit too out of control with the suplexes.
Yeah. The other thing about Hook, just to wrap this up for me, is I'm happy that we're seeing more Hook on the TV. Can we separate him now from the FTW belt? Does he have to have this belt ingrained into him or something like that?
Yes.
All right, dude.
Yes,
you're a good wrestler. Let's move him on to something else. I'm done.
I agree. Does anyone think that Hook looks like the kid from My Hero Academia?
Deku?
Yeah, Deku. Yeah.
Hook looks like a young.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
We're moving on. Jericho retained the championship. I didn't know if we mentioned that, but Jericho continues to be. Yeah, we have to. So Jericho retains. Shibata took the pin. So unless we get one more round, I think Shibata is done with this. And unfortunately, I think Hook is still gonna go up against Jericho one more time.
One more thing I might say about this quickly is commentary actually did a great thing afterwards, where they told you why Shibata got pinned. They had said that Jericho had used that Judas effect on Hook before and Hook had kicked out. And so Hook had already knocked out Shibata, and Jericho was smart about knocking Hook out enough to keep him down so he could pin the person that would actually stay down.
Oh, they did have a line about that. You're right.
I was like, I can't argue with that. But Jericho retains. He is still your FTW champion. And we move on to the next match. So I don't really have much of a picture because this is an eliminator match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which means that if Takeshita won this match, spoiler alert, I'm just going to bury the lead here, he would get a chance to go up against IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley at a future time. I had made the prediction that, Takeshita was going to win and this was going to be on Forbidden Door. By the end, this match itself, it was what I expected from a Mox and Takeshita match. Not necessarily my favorite, but I thought it was good. And then when I saw that Moxley was the victor here.
Sure.
Yeah, I will agree with that. And it's funny when this match first started, and I had actually thought that it was for the championship, but then when I heard that it was for a chance to then wrestle for the championship, I commented to Alice, just Takeshita should win. What's the do, So when Mox did come up with the 1, 2, 3, I did feel a little disappointed. I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Like that. I would have liked to see, I would have loved to see Takeshita Moxley at Forbidden Door or at Wembley, you know, for the actual championship. But you know, that's not what it was. Match wise, it was again a good match that kept me kept my eyes on the TV and kept my eyes on the pay-per-view. Yeah, that's it.
I feel like a match to set up whether or not this eliminator match thing, to set up whether we're going to see this match again, something like that should be on Dynamite. And this felt like a Dynamite match to me. I'm not sure. I'm still confused on the whole, hey, go up against the champion, and later on, you might get to face the champion. I just faced the champion. It's happening right now. What do you mean? That confuses me. And this happens in wrestling from time to time where it's like, what? Why? I get there's matches, the title's not at stake. Fine. But I don't think they set this up in a way that made sense to me. I think Moxley sort of ignored his injury. He started going, oh, I'm hurt. And then about halfway through was like, meh, just a bandage. Like, okay.
It's like, haha, JK, I got this.
But I think this was a high-level Dynamite and or Rampage collision match. And I'm not sure why this was here. I did not hate it. This is still great. I'm a John Moxley guy. He's in my top wrestlers working right now.
Let's go in conspiracy theory mode real quick because I kind of agree with Callum here. I wonder is that AEW wanted this to be for the championship. New Japan said no, so they made it the best out of it and made it a Don Callis storyline. Also, I agree. Konosuke is so good. He is smooth as butter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So good.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
I can see the cross promotion problems because Takeshita came from DDT and from Noah.
Yep.
Which now have a relationship with WWE. So, yeah, that could be a part of it. And, yes, I disagree with Professor on this one. I think this is a little bit more than it was a Dynamite-level match. This was a match that was at the level it should have been for the pay-per-view. I also would say to the Professor, you definitely don't watch ROH enough to understand how this works with the whole, like, I got to fight the champion because that's all they do on most of it there. And it's a proving ground way of doing it.
That would drive me crazy.
But
check out our reviews to you hear us talk about that.
Woof.
But this match was odd to me because Moxley didn't bleed again. Like I'm like, okay, did he listen to us? Like, just stop doing that,
right?
No bleeding Mox. That's nuts.
It really
except for the
fake out with the confetti.
The confetti.
I was like, oh my god, part of his back is missing.
No. This seemed to be the Dom Phallus night, where the Phallus family just didn't seem to be on the same page, where he's telling them to do stuff and they're not going to do it, or try to do it, and it cost them anything else. It just, I don't think that it needed to be more of the storyline being furthered in this way and having Dom Phallus at ringside and making him just like stand out like a giant sore sunburnt thumb. It could have just been easier that way where things just kind of progressed as they should have. And Takeshita, honestly, if this had been like a double count out or like something where he still lost, but not in a way where he was definitively pinned, then that might have worked better. But now this just completely wipes him out from working this at all. And it takes away from him more than anything else.
I think Callum's onto something though, because I wonder. I get the feeling something was called the last few days or the last week or two, right?
It might have been.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been, which makes me wonder. So, if Takeshita is not going to be wrestling Mox for this title at Forbidden Door, then we go to the backup plan of my conspiracy theory. I think I know if things go the way that they should. I may have figured out the second opponent, Mox's opponent for Forbidden Door if nobody else steps up. And I think we get a rematch with Naito.
Wait, I missed it. What'd you say?
Naito. He said Naito, but in like broken internet.
You fell into the Tron. I missed it for a second. That'll be cool.
The wrestling gods didn't like that. Never mind.
No, the wrestling gods were angry at you.
Personally, I'd rather see Takeshita versus Naito than Moxley versus Naito, but that's me.
Right.
Low key though, Takeshita versus anybody it would kind of slap. I'm not gonna lie.
He's gonna face Okada for the Continental title at Forbidden Door. It's what's going to happen.
Probably. Yo, give me Takeshita versus Taiji Ishimori. That match would slap.
Brood. Brood.
All right, let me quell the kids because we can't talk. How dare I talk about New Japan, and all the inner workings of how great that talent is. All these folks, except for JVL, because he covered Wrestle Kingdom with me at the beginning of the year. The rest of you folks only tune in for New Japan when it's Forbidden Door related. But that's okay. The next match, however.
Oh, yay. It's the Malachi Black is leaving the company match.
Yep. That's exactly what this was. So I feel this is necessary for this match right here. I'm just going to put it out there so everybody can see.
There's nothing wrong with this match.
Yes, there is. I'm going to tell you about it. But
no,
I didn't get involved. I know.
Everything was good. Everything was good. There is no more about to say.
Hey,
there is no more baseball.
This is the last time El Buntador and the professor want to work with me on anything for the future, so we may have to rearrange if I continue to be on Dynamite and what.
All my memories of this match were perfect. Everything was great.
Wait a minute. Are you acting like Malachi Black here, Mikey? You're just leaving the company for no good reason?
I mean, apparently. All right. I want to start with the positives because then I have some minor critiques for this one. First and foremost, this entrance was everything. This entrance was literally fire. It was great.
I got angry because I thought they didn't bring him in. They didn't bring him in to be with him. Oh, my God. How could they have missed that? And then I was my words later on, but that's beside the point.
So here's what I liked. I liked the concept of this match. This entrance was fire. This provided me some really great pictures to include in here, like this moment right here.
Mm-hmm.
The cactus drag moment. Yeah, I've got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, cactus is so good. I loved it. This is where we...
God damn.
This is where we got to the part of the match where things kind of took a turn for the crazy to, So, and it's also been reported, according to Fivefold, that because of this spot, Copeland may have messed up his ankle.
Oh, no. So this is literally, as you look at this picture, you just hear the record scratch going. You're probably wondering how I got here right now.
It needs to go about 2 more seconds, and this is the moment where he realized he stopped. I have.
Wait. Is Mikey? Are you done?
Okay, keep going, Mikey. Mikey, keep going.
Well, so just this part was also awesome too. As far as the concept go, I think this was a nice love letter to the Brood and to Gangrel and all that history. This would have been a really great match had you just been like, this is a grudge match. Copeland wants the ring back. Cool. I feel that the fact that this was for the TNT Championship match probably got lost in the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
The best part of this match, I'm going to be completely honest, was Malachi. I think Malachi was probably the best part of this match in the House of Black. I don't want to be that person, and I love Copeland to death. He is a phenomenal wrestler, and he's had a storied career, but you could tell throughout this match that the body is not bodying, and things are starting to slow down. I'm like, oh, Copeland, no. For spectacle-wise, this was fantastic, but I mean, outside of a nostalgia run for some folks, it was okay.
Now for the shipping report from El Buntador to Island.
Mikey,
Yes.
Read the text, Mikey. Read the text. Read the text.
My text message or put the text on the screen?
No, but I mean, however you want to do it. But Alice sent you a message about how I was reacting at this match.
Oh, yeah. Let me read.
I want that on the internet. I want everyone to know how I felt about this match.
I don't know what you're talking about, El Buntador, because she told me about someone named Adolfo, not El Buntador. I'm just kidding. So this is what Alice wrote me. So hey, Mikey, Adolfo is wondering. Oh no, wait, hold on. Let me scroll down. Wrong one. Just kidding.
Technical difficulties.
Here we go. I just need you to know that Adolfo squeed and jumped off the couch when Brood Adam Copeland showed up at Double or Nothing. And I replied back to Alice, that's freaking awesome and hilarious at the same time. I'm so happy to see him be a kid again watching wrestling.
This is how I felt watching this match. I felt like I was young El Buntador Dos, seeing the Brood back together, even if it was for nostalgia, whatever. But like the minute that mat opened up and, you know, Buddy and Brody both were like, wow, you know, like, and then Gangrel comes out and, oh man, it was great. I disagree with Adam Copeland going all the way to the top. You know, I felt that it is along the same vein as when Taker and Mankind fought on top of that ring and it broke apart and Mankind comes stumbling down, but my man still got up with a tooth sticking out of his nose and finished that match, which it was a historical match. You know, I felt like if you're going to set this up, I mean, look at this ring. If you're going to set this up, someone had to go off that top. And he did it. I hope that his ankle isn't that messed up. Is this the Malachi Black goodbye match? I hope not. I hope that you know, maybe this is something to proceed. Like he takes a few months off with Zelina, and they go off and do something, and then he can come back. Because was there not a stipulation in this that if Adam Copeland won, the House of Black would join the Brood?
Not the Brood, but they would join him, and he said the other two. He didn't say Malachi.
Okay. All right. So Adam Copeland won. So now Brody and Buddy technically are joining Adam Copeland.
They're joining the Brood. The Brood.
They're joining the Brood. I'm saying it. They're joining the Brood. Yes. So that's we're agreed with this, right? Right. Okay. Thank you.
No, I wholeheartedly disagree with you.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. I want you to give me. I'm gonna make this easy. I want you to give me 2 reasons why you justify Malachi not winning this championship. Outside of the nostalgia, outside of having fun with this, how does this progress the story for this championship outside of Buddy and Brody giving them a new leader while Malachi goes away?
Are we talking about the championship or are we talking about the storyline?
Yeah, because lest I forget, while this is good for the storyline, how did this help with the championship match that we were supposed to see? Because this was for the TNT championship match, but everything else kind of overshadowed that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm again alone on my island. I give a rat's patootie because I'm El Buntador Dos Dos. I don't curse. I don't give a rat's patootie about the chat. That was second, and to me, I'm fine with that because this match had theatrics. This match had just jaw-dropping moments, and I was here for it. I was here for it, and that's where I stand.
I'm on your island. I'll be rational on your island because there are some moments in here that they definitely miscued and should have done better. But I don't, and I fault them a little bit for sure. I'm wondering why Adam Copeland pulled up in this spot, because Adam Copeland's a pro and knows to go over Malachi Black through the table, not short for the elbow drop. Yeah, so I'm wondering what happened here, because then he took it standing up. Boom. And that's how ankle. I thought it was a knee. I guess we're hearing now it was an ankle. I thought so going straight down from there to do that. I'm not sure why that happened. There were a few miscue things for sure. I loved the foreshadowing now that we know of taking the barbed wire rack and piercing the canvas with it. And then later on, that's where the gangrel comes from. I was screaming in my house. I was absolutely screaming in my house. Like, oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. What's really great, and I know we have other things to talk about. I won't talk too long. There was an interview with Gangrel about a year or two ago where he was talking about the Brood and, has anyone ever reached out to you? And has anyone talked to you? He was like, what are you doing now? I was like, well, I'm training wrestlers here and there. I do a little bit this and this, but really no one's reached out to me and talked to me for years. And I kind of miss them. And I wish this. So to know that in my subconscious that a year and a half ago, he'd given that interview and now this was happening. I was full mark on this. I got to be honest. There are some things that should have been better. The fact that Malachi Black was waiting for the lights and sound, and there was a good 5-10 seconds of this is the moment it's supposed to happen. And production team the whole night was off on all these cues, by the way. So I don't fault the wrestlers at all. They were missing buttons in the back like crazy, which is unfortunate. I loved the imagery of it. I did forget it was for a title. I did forget there was a storyline going on. I got wrapped up into the nostalgia of the thing, which makes me biased. So I am pointing out my biases when I say that I did enjoy this. I had fun watching it.
Yeah, and I agree with what Callum just said, that this was probably the match that Adam Copeland wanted against Finn Balor, but wasn't able to get for whatever reason.
Absolutely right. Oh, no. I would agree with that.
On the Chris Van Vliet show, like he wanted Gangrel back there and was told no one's going to remember the Brood, so we're not going to do it. So you'll do Brood Edge and not have the music and not have Gangrel, and we're just going to have you wear a weird sparkly like disco ball on your head. Whereas this was, no, you got everything except the music. You got the fire entrance, you got the bloodbath, you got spitting blood in the face. This was the reunion minus Christian, which I still think they could work into it if they work hard at it. I don't know how the patriarchy, having Christian show up in a flowy shirt just for the hell of it would be so.
Do you think they would make him drink the blood?
Lose my mind.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, we got other matches to talk about. All right, moving on.
Well, they got to corrupt Nick Wayne to get Christian to the Brood side. There's so many things you could do.
Before we get to the next matches, I haven't said anything here.
Sorry,
Adolfo.
Yeah,
I have beached my vessel on your shore. I also squeed. I was about this match. Sad about the thing pulling up with the barbed wire, but yes, I was all aboard for this. The wrong person won in terms of everything else. I think Malachi should have probably won the match. But this is him leaving the company, and we don't know what's happening with it. And I do believe when the patriarchy breaks up and Kill Switch turns on Christian, who's going to help him? But they finally get the rights to that stupid music that is very much, like it's definitely not theirs at this point. And Gangrel comes out and blows mist in Lucha Switch's face and saves his butt.
How cool would that be? I know it's. So Malik, well, we could talk about this another time. Selena Vega posted the picture of Malachi Black, All in a Night's Work, or whatever that meant. My husband.
Yeah, my husband.
My beautiful husband, whatever that was.
Yep.
If this is one of the last or the last match of Malachi Black, I thought it was fantastic.
I thought he went out in a blaze of glory if he doesn't come back to AEW. I haven't seen anything on any of the trades about his contract. Am I missing something?
He's been wanting out because he's been unhappy with his bookings for about half a year now. Okay. And this, like, basically the scuttlebutt on this was, if they have him win here, then they found a way to keep him and give him what he wants. If he loses here, he's basically saying, like, I'm going to go out my contract and go then try to get back to WWE to work with my wife, be closer by.
It makes sense.
And not get pushed like the last time, because they still don't understand. No one understands what his gimmick is, and they don't seem to be able to work with him on it, which is just sad.
I mean, I do. I get it.
Yeah, but as you can see in the other company, they've taken what he was doing and given it now over partially into the mix with the Bray Wyatt led stuff that's now there. So it's like, what do you do with him when he comes in? Because he's not part of all this build and everything else. So I don't know what his game is at this point. He barely loses anywhere he goes. He had that in his stipulation in his contract where he just barely would lose, if at all. That's why Buddy Matthews took pins everywhere, because Malachi would never lose. And we don't know what's happening with it. And, I'm sad because he's been one of my favorite wrestlers for years, and he just can't seem to catch a break.
Sure.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, we shall move on.
Mikey doesn't like that we all abandoned him to get to Isla de Punta Dos.
I like this island. This island's great.
The music is wonderful. The tree is beautiful, and the breeze smells like helium.
See?
What's the currency here?
Well, the currency
Blood. No, I'm kidding.
Everything's in blood.
Well, I will say that the currency
of
for the
Mother
next
Rain.
match made me super happy. Okay, I don't care what nobody says. I really enjoyed this match. I really, really did. I'm still upset the fact that we had to wait a month and a half to get Mercedes back in this ring.
Did the internet not enjoy this match?
Who cares what the internet says?
It's a women's match. Do you think the internet enjoyed
kind
it?
of splotchy when it comes to certain parts of it because it's injury and all that. I don't care about the internet with this one. Okay. Whereas the rest of my co-hosts enjoyed that barbed wire steel cage match for nostalgia reasons and all the sorts of spectacle, as I did with certain aspects. This is what I wanted to see when we got Willow and Mercedes. And this was the first match that got announced for Double or Nothing, might I add, when we started this build all those weeks ago. This was everything I wanted. First and foremost, like, yes, we love me some Willow, and her hairdo was nice. The big friendship bracelet was cute, but like, come on now, get into this look.
Yeah.
But
and the drum corps and everything. Yeah,
the drum corps was great. There was one part of it that goes, "Wow, this is a walking wardrobe malfunction. It's about to happen." So, but
thankfully that did not. But like,
yeah, no.
Willow and Mercedes went out there and they did the damn thing, and you know, it was nice to predict the fact that, you know, I was right. I'm sad that Willow, and I talked about this on the Collision review, and El Budador can back me up in this, because I said during the interview, Willow's promo got me on emotional levels. And even though in the grand scheme of things, I'm happy to see Mercedes win because it gave me a point in my predictions, my heart still hurt for Ms. Willow Nightingale. I loved it, and I was just like, I'm not as upset that we had to wait for Mercedes to come back into the ring now, but I still think that Mercedes should change up her finisher just a tiny. Fantastic. Both women killed it out there, and this was my favorite women's match of the evening. So,
Mikey, are you there? Are you back?
There he is.
Conflab it.
There you are, Mikey.
You got it. You got it all out. You got it all out. I'm behind you 100% on this, Mikey. This was a great match. I'm gonna be that bad person, not cursing. I'm gonna say betrayal. Chris Statlander.
You didn't see that coming for the last year.
No, we saw that coming, but man, that was rough because like Mikey, I agree. Willow's promo that she cut the other day, was a great promo and spoke to me. But then they played that Mercedes Moné promo while they were trying to clean up all the blood from the Cope Malachi match, where she talked about all the people and this, that, and the other, and then I was like, oh man, Mercedes, why do you want me to have feelings for you, Mercedes? Because I wanted Willow to win. I feel though, and I was talking to Alice about this earlier today, I feel the writing was on the wall. Because if you see all the TNT commercials for all the AEW product, they showcase the champions, Adam Copeland, Swerve Strickland, and Mercedes Moné. So, I felt like that writing was on the wall. Still, I was able to, I was able to suspend my disbelief. And get into this match, really good match, now I'm interested to see where Willow goes. Is she going to feud with Chris Stat now? Is Chris Stat gonna feud with Mercedes Moné? Like, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. But loved the match. Great match. They both did it. Yeah.
I can make this quick. I agree with everything. I thought this match was fun. I think it served the storyline. I did see the turn. We all kind of knew it was coming. I did get the bait and switch, though. I was like, oh, my God, maybe not. Oh, just kidding. Mercedes Moné landed on her feet and ankles a lot, which I could not help but watch every time it happened. Like, oh, please don't. Oh, God, no. One of those spots right off the top, even though Willow helped her walk it down, just right on the heels and the ankles. So that was something I'm remembering. I think they rushed a few spots, and there were a few moments where I was like, hey, that's how you get hurt. Breathe, take a breath. I think it was well paced the second half. Outside of that, I'm not sure why. I mean, the internet's the internet, and they just like to trash women's wrestling. I'm not sure why they would hate on this match so much. Outside the small things I mentioned, but I don't know.
It was a great match. It was really well paced, well put together. They worked a style that worked with each other.
Yeah.
Mercedes leaned into all of her heel tactics, which was great, and it was nice to have her back there. There were a couple of spots that were a little bit overworked in certain respects and could have been done better. I agree with Callum on some of the stuff where Mercedes' finisher, like it reminds me of her promo style right now. It's overdone and like overworked for some reason. It's way too complicated. And it needs to be changed, especially if you're working against bigger opponents. Like her carrying her for a bit just to set that up needed something else. So while it was a great match at that point, it needed a little bit more. Mercedes is always going to win this thing. I don't know if Willow's going to be put in the Owen Hart tournament and maybe could be the next one that picks up a thing there in a little bit where she can actually go on to, a bigger title match at that point. But there's definitely something with stat in the way, whether that's going to be in the tournament or not. But with Mercedes winning this, maybe we'll get 2 women's segments on a freaking Dynamite for once.
That would be good. That would be good. I mean, she keeps saying she's leading a women's revolution. So, if this helps to push women's wrestling in AEW, then yeah, do it.
Do it,
CEO.
100%. Please. Let's cut half the matches around this card. Put more women's matches on. Let's go.
Seriously. So we leave Willow, Mercedes, and Chris for and Stooley, as we call him on the Rampage review. Stooley Hathaway. But we leave a really good match to another pretty good match that I really enjoyed. For this is your semi-main event for the AEW World Championship. Swerve Strickland, whose house? Swerve's house. Defending his title against Christian Cage. We are revisiting old ghosts from Swerve's past. I'm just going to go forward a little bit because this was my moment of the entire evening. And also this. Look at this shot. Look at this shot.
That's amazing. That's...
Shout out to the photographer who was able to get this moment, because going from Christian going to the spear straight into a house call by Swerve. Look at the it's so pretty.
Put that in the Louvre. My goodness.
Oh, also, let me just go back here real quick. Did I include a picture? I think I did. We shall see. Yes, there we go. The Warriors inspired entrance and ring gear. This was fire. This match was fantastic. This was in my top matches of the whole entire evening. This Christian and Swerve killed it, but it's so beautiful.
I did love the Lucha Switch headbutt to Christian too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't take notes on any of this because it was so much fun. Sure. Folks getting thrown out of you can't be ringside. No, you can't be ringside. Nick Wayne coming back and making it awful. Yeah. Nana was holding a pipe, which would come back later on if you were really paying attention to the props.
Yeah.
This was great.
Yeah. I'm constantly impressed by Swerve. When I think, wow, yeah, you've really impressed me. You can't go, oh, nope. You just impressed me even more, Swerve. This match told such a great story through the wrestling. Such a great story with, Nana getting thrown out, and then Swerve was by himself, but, holding it down. And then the patriarchy gets thrown out, and then, popping back in. But even with all that going outside, the focus was on the match and in the ring. And I really, really, really appreciated that because this had such the potential of the match not being focused in the ring, but it was focused in the ring. Kudos to Christian for putting the good show. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I honestly loved so many moments in this match, including the using the turtleneck against Christian multiple times to do
so funny.
Stuff like that.
I love that commentary said it after I did to my friend when we were rewatching today. I was like, I just need Christian to hold up his hands and go, I am the mighty Cornholio.
Yeah, they made the Cornholio joke. Anyone over 30 gets that joke. Fantastic.
And
I got that reference.
There you go. The Spanish announce table spot also brutal because the table didn't break. You wanted it to, but it definitely didn't. Again, I've seen movies that begin like this, but those are different types of movies. It captivated you the entire time. Are they going to get through this? Is he going to be able to get through all the shenanigans on the outside? I will say this from being at New Jersey Wrestle Show, Mother Wayne is a large woman. Like, she is Amazonian tall. And
we saw that firsthand this past weekend.
Yes. She's imposing.
You think of like Lady Demestru from the Resident Evil game, and like Mother Wayne could play her.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in general, it was a well-told story, well put together, not as schmozzy as I thought it would be. Great couple of bumps here and there. But I think that now Swerve has beaten a couple of heels and still has that kind of in-between role. We need him to face a big, like, white meat baby face coming up for his next opponent before he does anything else, which could mean a Will Ospreay at this point. It could mean, or a Kyle Fletcher or somebody that like can play that role against him that gives him that edge, because he needs to hone the edge a bit more now that he's been sharpened against heels.
I 100% agree with you. I'm looking at the roster we currently have in terms of baby faces or even faces that would make a good challenge for Swerve to kind of own that other side of the spectrum.
Matt Taven.
Yo, honestly, I would not be upset if Matt Taven or even Mike Bennett would, go up against Swerve. Though Matt and Swerve would bring the house down.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say that Swerve is the type of wrestler that you can put a mediocre wrestler with him and he will elevate that individual up to his level. And the match will be good.
We talk about that on Dynamite every time we just saw it with Nick Wayne. And Nick Wayne is not mediocre. Ruled. Nick Wayne is fantastic. But Swerve supporting Nick Wayne to do all the crazy things. My goodness.
Yeah. Yep.
I have one name already at the top of my list for this.
Who's at the top of your list from New Japan?
Just because I think style-wise it would be great. Plus, I also think of the weird stuff like the fashion game, Swerve versus Hiromu Takahashi. Or even that's one. There's a couple other names too. Like I think El Desperado versus Swerve would kill it too.
Desperado definitely would be up there. You could have him go up against even like a David Finlay or anything from the War Dogs. But I feel like his biggest one would honestly be if he took on either, like, it wouldn't be Naito, but take on like someone else from Chaos or from LIJ.
Ooh, that would. Sonata versus Swerve, maybe.
Maybe Evil.
Now, now, you know what? If you wanted to do kind of a face for Forbidden Door, Swerve versus TJP.
Ooh, yeah. If he's in his full form, that'd be insane.
The Ashwan look too, yeah. Yes, let's go. Sorry, the New Japan folks are. Jeff Cobb would be great. Callum says Zack Sabre Jr. could be one. I was just like, that would be interesting, but I feel like Zack is more technical than Swerve. But then again, Swerve takes what his opponent is giving him. And that's the other thing about Swerve I've noticed too. He always adapts every single match and he cranks something new out. I was like, this man is like crazy.
Yeah, that's why you can put a mediocre wrestler in there with Swerve and he will elevate them.
I'm already excited for Forbidden Door. There's so many good things that they can do, but we got to move on. This match was great. Swerve Strickland is still your AEW World Champion, which means by process of elimination, we get to the main event. The Anarchy in the Arena match, Team Elite, which is the Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and Jack Perry taking on Team AEW, represented by FTR, Bryan Danielson, and replacing Eddie Kingston is Darby Allin. Before we talk about the match, I just want to give the audience a little bit of preview of why this was called Anarchy in the Arena. So we're just going to take a few moments of silence real quick. There's
set up for the Hollywood style stunts.
There was this one. There was also that.
That looked like it hurt.
This part was bananas.
There it is.
That
was pretty cool.
That was
I feel like I've seen Jimmy Jacobs do this exact same spot.
Yeah, but all right, boys. Now that we've gotten through a glimpse of what we witnessed on our television in our main event, I don't even know where to begin. This was just, and this is the one time I'm going to curse on this air. This was fucking nuts. Like, oh my goodness.
This was angry.
Manners.
I'm very angry I didn't do my prop bets because I would have gone 2 for 2 when Gangrel showed up. I would have gone 3 for 3. Darby hitting someone with the flamethrower. Like full, I'm going to light you on fire. I called for it on the Dynamite
literally
review.
set a man on fire. It was nuts.
I was like, if you're going to do this, do it. If you're going to play a flamethrower, hit somebody with the flame stunt. And they did it. I will talk about this whole broadly because there's a lot of spots in here. I think there was so much production involved by a crew that isn't used to this much production. So, and JV will understand this, they split the scene right at the top. Mm-hmm. They went, all right, there's 8 of us. Let's go in 4 different directions. And the camera folks were like, all right, we'll catch you. They were not ready. This was a mess the first 4 or 5 minutes of trying to catch anyone doing anything.
With their rudimentary OBS skills, and they put up a thing that we've usually done with the 4 screen. It was like, okay, you've never live streamed on the web before.
And then they threw by the time they threw up that 4 square thing, it was already over. They missed all those moments.
Of course.
To set up the stunt of Darby getting hit by the truck, they didn't show Darby getting thrown into the pile, which is what set it up. So commentary had to go, I think Darby was in the pile. I think Darby was in the pile. Maybe Darby back to the pile. So there was a few of those things. I love that they're taking risks. I love that they're trying new things. I absolutely appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I love going into the lobby and having drinks with the crowd. I thought that was a fun touch. This felt, again, more spectacle. Maybe it's just me. I think Jack Perry and Darby kind of stole this from me. I wanted to see them the whole time. I liked everything else I was seeing, but every time the camera cut away, I was like, no. The action's over there. Show me what's happening over there. That's what I want to know.
I will say, Anarchy of the Arena lives up to the name because it's anarchy, but I will agree that even for as crazy as the whole match was, the first couple of minutes was kind of like my ADHD was kicking into overdrive, and I was just like, I don't know where to look. Somebody direct me. And then once we got outside and we started off with Darby trying to drown a man live on my pay-per-view television screen, and then later in the background with, Jack Perry running Darby over with the bus and all that good stuff. I will say that this is probably the best shot Anarchy in the Arena with an audience in it that we've gotten to up to this point.
Fair enough.
I think once we got past the first couple of minutes, everything felt great. I also want to bring this up too because I noticed it too. The flame spot was mostly dangerous for Cash because his feet got really close to that fire.
It did. For anyone who knows anyone who's done flame stunts or trained fire stunts and things like that, I won't waste too much time because this review is going to end up being as long as the thing itself. You are coated in a cooling gel, layer 1.
Which they lampshaded by putting him in the water trough.
Which was a nice touch.
I wish they probably did a handful of this. So if you even see in this shot, notice he's kind of looks like he's wearing a diaper. He's wearing extra layers of pants. So there's 2 to 3 layers of cooling gel and tights, and then there's ice packs underneath, and then there's 1 pair of pants, and then a second pair of pants that has like a accelerant on it. So you are freezing to death. You are ice cold when you wear this stuff. So by the time you get lit on fire, you're begging to be lit on fire. Jack Perry knows the Hollywood folks, obviously, was trained beautifully, did the flail, did everything, and when it got too hot, fell right on the ground. And Young Bucks came in and hit him with the hose.
And not only that, but they had the blankets, the summertime blankets as well.
Absolutely, everything was there.
Yeah, which I haven't I haven't worked with fire stunts like this, but I have worked with fire performers, and I do know that is one of the big safety things is you have to have the blanket made out of
fire retardant material.
Yeah, it's a fancy name for the thing. Yeah.
So that because that is what actually puts the fire out, because it is a chemical fire, so you gotta douse it.
I was also worried because they had the extinguishers put them out and also put the flamethrower out, but the thing was still firing the gas out of it, which is liquid. So it's like I was worried that thing was going to ignite off something else, and all of a sudden it's pointing at Darby the whole time as it's firing. I'm like, what is going on with this? Somebody turn that freaking flamethrower off.
It was anarchy in the arena. They build it and they brought it. And admittedly, I enjoyed it. I was sucked into this as a wrestling fan, into the spectacle. I had those moments where I thought the good guys were going to win. And then I was really disgruntled when the heels won, so to that, they did the thing, and good job on them. It was, in that regards, it was a great match. All the production stuff was, super crazy. But yeah.
I respect the crowd for chanting "Put down Darby." Is that what they were saying?
They were saying, "Please help Darby."
Please help Darby. Yeah, please help Darby. Like, he's just up there for minutes and minutes and minutes.
He was way too long. They should have put him down at some point. And
I know. I was like, that blood is rushing through.
It was a little, obviously, because it was a little bit of a spot fest, because that's what it is.
Please help Darby.
Yeah, but still. I had fun watching the spectacle of the thing. So I mean, sort of guilty pleasure, greedy feel type of stuff. But again, those first 5 minutes, I wish that was a little more streamlined in the sense of like, where am I looking? What am I doing? Where are we going? Sort of thing. What happened to Darby after he went below deck? Did we ever?
He got his flamethrower.
He got his flamethrower.
He came back with the flamethrower after that, right? Okay. I'm getting
the other thing too. The other thing I didn't include in this picture, though, is that Jack Perry was walking backstage, ready to get back into the arena, and he's like, "You know what? This is a great idea." He literally grabs Tony Khan and throws him out on stage. I was just like,
"Have you all seen the footage of Tony Khan overselling, rolling down the ramp?"
No, but I bet it's great.
If you get a chance, watch Tony Khan overselling the fact that he was tossed for an extra 50, 60 feet.
We love to see it.
Someone has set it to the Benny Hill theme already. It's hysterical.
Set it to what?
The Benny Hill theme already.
Yes. So good.
Oh,
Also, shout out to the Bucks for playing into like the final countdown was playing. They're like, stop the music. You're paying like too much money for the throne.
every
Watch
time.
it.
That
Yeah.
was funny. So the inside the jokes were funny. Like I'm not gonna fault it because it's it's supposed to be madness.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
Yep,
loved it.
that's
The other
what
thing
it
I
is.
really enjoyed is the fact that Danielson got pinned by Jack Perry, which I was like, perfect. That's exactly what needs to happen. Give this heat to Jack Perry, and Danielson can afford the loss. Like it's fine. I thought Jack Perry pinning Danielson made a lot of sense, and it was fantastic. He
did it with the Busaiku knee.
So good.
He did it with the Busaiku knee.
Yep, getting hit with the Busaiku knee. This match was just chaotic all over the place, but that's exactly what it was. The bad guys win, which means that we're going to get round 2 at Blood and Guts. Ooh, that Blood and Guts match is going to be crazy. Should be interesting. But, boys, that brings us to the end of Double or Nothing. So, let's give our final thoughts and our ratings, and then we're going to bring this thing home.
So, what's the scale on this Buntador Island? Like, what's the scale here?
Oh no, we can't deviate from that. I got an email from the Dark Council of the Bi-Conics that said that we can't deviate from the empanada scale. So I'm just putting
we have a deep state. I didn't even know.
Yes,
we've got under deep state actually.
Yes, there was fines, threatened.
The Dark Council's crazy. They even sent me something, and I was just like,
Ike being taken away from me, madness.
The house hippo was going to get repossessed.
Wow.
Yikes, that would not be great.
Death threats when we were there. That was really kind of interesting. Anyway.
I love it. I'm going to go first. Definitely. Well, of course I'm going to go first because I don't got much to say. But I definitely enjoyed this Double or Nothing better than I did last year because last year's was a chaotic mess, and I named last year's Double or Nothing as the worst pay-per-view of the year for me because they focused on the wrong things last year.
I'm not sure.
I will say, so the bar was very, very low for this one, and obviously this exceeded my expectations. I do admit that some of these matches could have been removed. We did not need a 4.5 hour main card. If I'm going to be completely honest, some of these matches could have been reserved for Collision or Dynamite. But I think the matches that we did get, I really enjoyed it. I'm happy to see Will Ospreay get a championship and to see what comes of all that. MJF coming back was crazy. Lest we forget, that's what opened the show, and then we had a whole plethora of everything in between. I really, really enjoyed this. So I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Despite some of my critiques, I really enjoyed Double or Nothing this year. And so far, this is the best AEW pay-per-view for 2024. And that's okay because we still got the half of the year to go with Forbidden Door, All In, All Out, Wrestle Dream, and World's End later this year. So should be fantastic. So I give this an 8 out of 10. I am going to select the professor to go next.
Me. I think I'm right there with you. If 8, solid 8, it should be an 8.5. It should be a 9 on paper because there's some stuff in there that's fantastic, obviously. Again, I wish the women were represented a little bit better, shuffling of the order and all of that. And I think that would have bumped it up a little bit for me. Anarchy in the Arena was bloody anarchy in the arena. I should have guessed all my prop bets because on paper, this is a card the professor would have picked. Like, yes, do this thing, do that thing. Bonus points for the flamethrower stunt. Absolutely. We're right. Those 3 or 4 matches in the middle where we're all like, yeah, well, this. Sure, we could take a little bit off for that. Some of the production stuff should have gone way cleaner, missing cues and sort of stranding your performers in the middle of that stuff. So I thought that could have been tightened up some. But as far as spectacle, clearing up and streamlining most of the storylines, I know we've talked it to death. Very much above average. We're in that 8. I want to give it higher than that because I feel like I give 8s all the time, but this kind of sits at a solid B for me.
El Buntador, you go next.
I will go. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, good.
For reason being is that I felt like a wrestling fan watching this. You know, it was a long night, but you know, I was sucked in, and I was there, and I had to remember, like when matches were over, I had to look over and be like, oh yeah, I got to write some notes, you know, because I was just so sucked in and watching it, and you know, I felt like little Buntador, el pequeñito Buntador, you know, watching this, and also as a sidebar, seeing my 5-year-old, his reaction to Osprey, you know,
himself by jumping off his bed. Yeah,
right, exactly. You know, that harkened me back to when I used to watch wrestling with my dad, and then like I would go and you know, with my friends in the basement, and we would have our wrestling matches in the basement, you know. So yeah, it hit me with that nostalgia, and that's why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
I guess that leaves me. First off, I did a little research here. Wow, weird stuff like that. To play the final countdown for as long as they did, it cost $200,000. For them
did.
So that was the most expensive spot on the night, was to play that music for as long as they did.
Wow.
For myself, I agree with Double Door on this one. I was a wrestling fan again. AEW normally has spectacular pay-per-views with no build, or spectacular pay-per-views with great returns, but it's always like a top of the thing with no foundation under it to hold it up. This was the first one in probably a year that had decent build in a couple places, had good storylines going into it, and delivered on 95% of what they were trying to get to. Because of that, I'm going an 8.5 out of 10. Room to grow, room to get better over the next, as we go into the stretch of amazing pay-per-views we're going to have. But this set the table for this spate of it better than they had in a long time.
Fair.
I was happy to watch AEW. I was happy to recommend it. It was great. This guy just opened up behind me. It was like pouring back there.
I was like, is someone glaring at you back there?
It's
No,
crazy.
that's the cat over there.
I wanted, this one should be for me, and we're all entitled. This should be
You're wrong.
more. I can be wrong. I like being wrong. I just wanted, there was the little things that took me out of it, upset me that they took me out of it the way they did.
Yeah.
And that's sucks. Because I'm jumping on Buntador. Yeah, I was a wrestling fan again. Like, oh my God, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. How long? 6 hours. Well, okay. I guess fine. Like, you know what I mean?
It was better than the other company who did the Blood Money pay-per-view.
Hi-oh.
There's a reason we didn't cover it. Just putting it out there.
Woof.
But
Ring of
before we
Honor,
go,
you got to do better this time for our next one, because Ring of Honor
seriously,
better than this.
Death Before Dishonor better be amazing, because last year it was my favorite ROH pay-per-view of the year. But before we go off the air, as promised at the beginning, let's go over the final prediction scores for Double or Nothing. Yes, I wrote
so
this
far
down.
since the last one.
So we here at the BC Wrestle Pod, the hosts are for each of the companies. We're doing something a little bit fun. We are having our own little predictions leagues for the companies. So WWE, AEW, ROH to a certain extent, TNA, and you know, we're just having a good time. We have yet to figure out what the ultimate loser at the end of the year is going to receive as some sort of punishment / problem.
We're going to eat a habanero or something?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
the shirt, here it comes. Da, da, da.
We're going to do a shirts and skins segment?
Maybe. We'll see with that. Someone's got to wear a crop top for a review. But here are the final records, and this is including one non-AEW host who got into the mix with this because they're fantastic as well. But we're gonna work our way from bottom up. So coming in last place with their prediction score, with the score of 6-4, is JVL.
I'm a power bottom.
You said those words, not me.
That's your finishing move.
The mighty have fallen.
I was 11-1 last pay-per-view. God dang it.
So it was kind of nuts. You know, tying for third place, though, with the 7-3 is myself and the professor.
I'll take it because I got hosed the other one, so I'm glad to be average again.
I'm about to get hosed by all of you.
It's gonna be. I mean, that's crazy. As far as AEW hosts only, El Buntador II is the winner with a score of 8-2.
Yeah, man.
Clean house. Being taught by El Buntador.
But if we're including our non-AEW hosts with almost a clean sweep with the score of 9-1 is Andrew.
Unbelievable.
Again, not surprising.
Yeah.
And on that lovely note, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Grapple Gurus Review. This was AEW's Double or Nothing. Stay tuned because the month of June is going to be jam-packed with a bunch of stuff. We are having our final NXT pay-per-view coverage before we switch to our new federation that we're going to be covering. On top of that, JBL here is going to be guesting with me and whoever else is going to join me for TNA Against All Odds. We also, Professor and I and Minnie, got Clash at the Castle this month.
Ooh, I'm excited for it.
I am excited for that.
I'm excited for TNA to figure out that they should never put me on their stuff again because I'm just going to ask questions.
I'm excited for Against the Odds. We'll talk about it, but then all or most of the BC WrestlePod hosts are invited because we close out June with Forbidden Door. Japan's is going to be so good. But until then, this has been Mikey, and from the rest of the AEW crew, as well as the rest of the BC WrestlePod boys, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you on the flip side. But until
Billy
then,
Stark's outro.
Bleh.